guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to sit down with you and do a Q&A. I think the last Q&A that I did was like January of last year, a year ago. I know I did a few pregnancy Q&As here and there, but nothing where it's just like basic life questions, other than like maybe on my Instagram story I've done some, but I feel like I haven't done just like a sit down Q&A that's not all about pregnancy in a very long time. So I wanted to do one, answer some questions that you guys have, and just catch up. The very first question is, when starting social media, were you a little embarrassed / shy in front of friends and family? This is so funny because I started my YouTube channel actually my senior year of high school. So I had Instagram in high school and stuff, and I wasn't embarrassed about that ever because it was kind of like everyone had Instagram. I just had at the time a lot of followers like compared to my peers and stuff, but I didn't know why I had a lot of followers. Like people were just following me. And so when people would be like, how do you have so many? I was like, I genuinely don't know. Like I guess I post cute photos and people like that, but I wasn't doing anything crazy or anything to get followers. So that was just like, I don't know, I wasn't embarrassed. I was just like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know? But I started my YouTube channel my senior year of high school, and I remember making the channel, and I think like I didn't even post anything on it, but a few people had just seen that I made a channel, and they weren't like teasing me about it, but people were just like, oh, saw you made a YouTube channel. And immediately I was like, I will not be posting a video on this until I graduate and I don't have to see these people every single day. So I graduate high school, and I think I posted my first video like that same month, if not the next month. It was a Q&A to like get to know people and, you know, whatever. And I'm pretty sure I did like a room tour of my like bedroom at my mom's house and stuff. But I was just, you know, trying to make videos, and I wasn't embarrassed because I think I was like graduating high school and going into college. So for me, it was kind of like a fresh start. I was like, I'm never gonna see people that I know per se, like ever again, like day-to-day life. And if people that I'm going to college with see my videos, like this is their like perception of me. It's just like, oh, she makes YouTube videos. So yeah, I wasn't really embarrassed by it, but I just remember like waiting until I was done with high school to start posting on my YouTube because I was like not embarrassed, but I didn't want them to see my videos. But then like once I started getting a little bit of a following, or more of a following on Instagram, and then when TikTok came about and I got a following on there, I wasn't embarrassed ever. I just like am not typically someone who gets embarrassed easily, but I was just kind of like, well, I'm making fun videos and people like them, so like what is to be embarrassed by that? I don't know. Lots of you guys asked this, but this one says, how did you know Johnny was the one? So if you don't know, we were only dating for 6 months before we got engaged, and then we got married 5 months after that. So it was obviously pretty quick. So when we started talking, or like met, I guess, I was in my like sworn off guys era, which I feel like a lot of people are always in that mindset and then they end up meeting their husband. I was in kind of a mindset of like, no, if I meet, like I do not want another boyfriend until I graduate college and you know, move to another state or wherever I go. I was just kind of like done dating. But so then of course I meet Johnny, and I like had seen his TikTok videos. At the time he had more followers on TikTok than I did even. So I obviously thought he was very cute and funny, but we just had so much in common. Like not like our favorite foods and like things like that, but like deeper things like our views, our relationship with Jesus, how we wanted to raise a family, like our morals, and like things that actually like really matter, I guess. We had all of that in common, and so which I feel like is very hard to find someone who you align on like so many different topics with. So I was like, okay, wait, I kind of actually really like this guy. We have a lot in common of things that matter. And just every time that we were together in person, because we were doing long distance too, every time that we were in person, I was like sobbing when we had to leave each other. I never wanted to be without him. I was like, I just love him so much. Like I want to be with him 24/7. I felt like he made me a better person. Well, he still does make me a better person. But just when we were dating, I was like, he makes me a better person. He makes me laugh the most out of anyone. I feel like we don't have the same sense of humor, but things are just so funny to us. And it's like, it wouldn't be funny to anyone else, but like we just, you know, think things are hilarious to us. and we can always make each other laugh, and we're really good about that. So yeah, I don't know, I guess I was just like, I don't know how I would ever find someone who we have so many of the same values, beliefs, we have so much in common with that. And also, like, I think he is so hot and he's hilarious. Like, I don't know, it's just all of these things. And I was like, yeah, we have to get married, obviously. And yeah, now we've been married for over 2 years. Best decision of my life. Kind of going along with that one, someone said best relationship advice. For me, I feel like communication is like a big factor, because people always, I feel like, ask how we get through arguments and things. And the thing is, like, honestly, we don't have a ton of arguments or fights, which, like, I know you probably hate hearing that. I feel like that's so annoying to hear. But if you seriously marry someone who is like your literal best friend, we don't do things to purposefully make the other person upset. And if he does something that just like kind of rubs me the wrong way, or like I'm annoyed by, I feel like for the most part I immediately am like, this is bothering me, or like I'm feeling like this, and then we can fix it, you know? Like, we don't let things build up to where it's like then this huge massive argument of things that have just been like piling over the last month. For me, I think communication and communicating your feelings is a huge thing, because how is your partner supposed to know if something is upsetting you unless you are very open about that? And it doesn't even have to be communicating like upset feelings. It can be like happy things, like, I love when you do this, thank you so much for doing that. And just communicating your feelings, your needs, your wants, and then yeah, the other person knows you. Like, Johnny knows me so well. He knows exactly like what is going to make me really happy, what is going to probably piss me off or make me mad, make me upset, you know? And like, he just knows me so well, and so I feel like that is because we communicate those things. Also, you should date or marry your best friend. I already kind of said that, but seriously, if it's someone who is like genuinely your best friend and has your best interests at heart, like, your relationship is going to be so fun. Has becoming a mom been easier or harder than you thought it would be? This is a really great question, because I feel like I was anticipating it to be a little bit hard. Like, I wasn't expecting it to just be this like really easy breezy thing, which is, it's not. But I will say things that I thought would be like really difficult are a little bit easier, and then like things that I thought would be pretty easy turned out being difficult. It's just like, I don't know, like, I anticipated it to be hard. I knew it would be hard. I knew it would be a drastic life change, but it's a really good change and like something that I am so grateful for. So I feel like it's not easier or harder. It's just like exactly as I anticipated, but it's harder in ways I wasn't expecting, if that makes sense. And I seriously think like people don't get it until they've had a baby. You don't get it. As much as like my friends who don't have babies right now try to understand where I'm coming from about things, or you know, they really try to understand and be like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. You genuinely just do not know until you've had a baby. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I get it now. Like, it's a huge wake-up call. That's not to like scare anyone either. Having a baby is the best part of my life. Like, we are so obsessed with Brooks, and I always wanted to be a mom from a really young age. So I'm not trying to scare you away from becoming a parent or anything. I don't even know how to explain it. You just truly don't understand it until you're in it and you're living it. Baby number 2, anytime soon, or what's your preferred age gap? I think I have answered this on my channel before, but I wanted to say it again because so many people were asking about it. So as most of you probably know, we weren't planning, like, we weren't trying to have a baby when we had Brooks. So I think for the next baby, we do want it to be a little more planned. The surprise was really fun, so I mean, I wouldn't be mad. But, you know, you try to plan out your life as much as you possibly can. We have said right now that when he turns 2, then we would start trying, but I don't ever want to put like a timeline on something and be like, okay, he's 2, like, let's get this going, you know? If we feel ready before he turns 2, or if he turns 2 and we're like, you know what, we're still not really ready, like, I don't really want to set a timeline and be like, it has to be this way or no way, just because that's not really how life works, you know? And so just whenever we feel ready, that's when I want to have our next baby. I don't want them to be really far apart in age, so I feel like him being like 3 is like furthest that I'd want to try starting to have a baby, just because at that point they'd be like almost 4 years apart. That's kind of a lot of an age gap. So my preferred age gap for them would be like 2 years and like 9 to 10 months. And then if we do end up having 3, I feel like our last 2 would be a little bit closer in age, just kind of like, you know what, we're gonna have 3, so like let's just have them, boom boom. But I do really enjoy just having Brooks right now, and it's like time with your first baby that you're never gonna get back. I don't know, it's like I want to soak it all up, you know, with just him, and he's so special to us, not like our other kids wouldn't be, but you are only gonna have one baby for so long, and so I don't want to like take that for granted. I just want to soak it all up and spend quality time with him. Tips for making new friends and keeping healthy friendships in your 20s. I love this question because if you guys didn't know, we lived in Texas for a year, and honestly, me and Johnny did not have a lot of friends in Texas. So when we moved to Florida, we were like, okay, we need to be so much better at making friends because we don't really have any friends here. I did meet a couple of girls on social media at first, and then I'd say like 5-ish months into living here, we signed up for a small group at our church, which I think is so important because that's where we met a lot of our married couple friends, was from that small group. So I've still met a couple of people off social media, but I feel like most of our like couple friends where it's like, you know, we hang out with as a married couple are from our church small group. Definitely put yourself out there in any way that you can. I feel like, you know, apartment complexes are always like hosting little events and mixers and stuff. So if you live in a complex, you could always attend those, even though it may seem like weird or like just a little bit awkward to attend things like that. You never know who's going to be there, and you could always meet, you know, friends, or you meet someone and then you meet their friends and like you click with their friends or something. But also church groups I think are really great, or depending on where you work, you could always meet people at work, workout classes. You know, it's like if you're like, I want to have friends who go to Pilates and like want to go to coffee with me after or something, then it's like, okay, you have to go to Pilates yourself to try to meet people there and go to coffee shops where you could meet potential friends and things like that. Also, I will say, having friends in your 20s, I think, is so different than like your college friends or high school friends, especially. Your friends in your adult life should be nothing but supportive of you, and like if you have any toxic friends in your 20s, especially after having a baby, it's just like I do not have time for that. Like all my friends in my life right now, anything that we do, they are like there to praise and celebrate, and they just love us so much. They're seriously so sweet to us. I just feel like you get to a certain point in life where it's like, okay, like I can't do the like toxic friendship or like little like mind games that some people like to play. You just get to a point where you're like, I'm a little bit too old for that, and I don't have time for that, and I need people in my life who are going to support me, be there for me, etc. Do you still breastfeed your baby, or do you formula feed, or is he eating solids? I do still breastfeed. I feel seriously so lucky that my milk supply, it was like more than enough. I know that some people really struggle with their milk supply, and like I don't want to be blind to that fact and just be like, yeah, breastfeeding has been great, even though it has been for me. That's not everyone's story, which, you know, is very unfortunate. So I was super lucky that he latched on right away. We did have like a latch consultant is what they call it, I think, at the hospital, and she was there to kind of like help because he was like trying to latch when he was first born, but it was just like he was trying to figure it out, which of course he's a newborn baby. And so we had her, she helped us, and then like once we got home, he was totally fine with breastfeeding. His latch was great. I didn't start pumping anything until maybe like 3 months. The first though, like month or 2, I used the Haka on the other breast wherever he was not eating, and that caught and that caught so much extra drippage, just because like when your milk first does come in, it's like your milk is in, and that caught so much milk that would have just been like dripping out into my clothes or something. And so I was able to get a good freezer supply just by doing that. So we have so much milk in the freezer, and then I started actually pumping maybe like 3-ish months, but I would only ever pump like if I were going somewhere and I wasn't going to be here with Brooks, then I would pump milk so that he had a fresh bottle. So I would do that, or like if I had a workout class scheduled for 7 a.m. and I woke up and my boobs were just so full, I would pump before I left. That way it was just like a release, you know, not like so much milk. I don't pump like some people who exclusively pump, they're always pumping. I only pump something has come up and like I'm gonna be gone and I need the milk out of my boobs, or like I want Brooks to have a fresh bottle or something. That's the only times that I pump. So he's never had formula, and then we started doing like some baby purees, but our doctor said like he could have solid foods now and stuff. So we've been trying a little bit, but it does like scare me a teensy bit. I like doing the purees a little bit more because giving him like the solid foods, it's just like a little bit scary. I'm like, oh, he doesn't have any teeth, how can he eat this, you know? I don't want him to choke, I just like freak out. So we have been doing that. And then a lot of people ask how long I have been I'm planning to breastfeed. My goal is a year, and like around his first birthday, kind of just see where we're at with it. But I wouldn't go like much past a year, maybe only like another month after that and I would be done. But maybe at a year start like weaning him off or something. Would you ever consider moving somewhere other than Florida? This was like one of my #1 questions. I think a lot of people know I'm from Ohio, and then when I met Johnny, he was living in Arizona, but his family is originally from California and then moved to Oregon. So like they're all over the West Coast, and then he also has like some family in Texas, but most of my family is all from Ohio, and that's where I was living. And then once we got married, we moved to Texas together, and then now we're in Florida. So we're just like a little bit all over the place. Would we ever consider moving somewhere new? I just like, I love Florida so much, you guys. I love it here. I could go on and on about why I love it here, but I genuinely never want to leave here, ever. It is hard living somewhere where you have 0 family members. Like we don't even have like a second cousin here or like an aunt or something. Like we have no family members here at all. And it's not difficult if you don't have a baby. It's like whatever. Once you have a baby, you notice, you're like, oh, we don't have any family here, which like kind of leads me into my next question, which was, what was it like moving away from your fam, especially with a baby? So when we moved to Texas, we didn't have a baby. So we were like, we're chilling, we're gonna be doing life on our own. Like it doesn't really matter if we're around family or not. I always knew that I wanted to move out of Ohio though, and so like us moving somewhere wasn't crazy. All of my family knew too that I was planning on leaving. So then we lived there, we didn't have a baby, and then we moved to Florida, we also still did not have a baby. So like we weren't really thinking about living somewhere where our family did as well. But now that we have a baby, it is like way more obvious that we don't live by family. Back to the question, moving away from our family, like just us being married, was totally fine. I'm also someone who really likes change. I feel like I can embrace change. I like being in new places and like figuring out things and stuff. So I loved that. But now living away from our family with a baby is different. It is doable, but it is like very different. It's just like you don't really have like a babysitter, or if you're like, I need a free moment, you know, you just don't really have that. Luckily, we have a really great friends who we trust to watch him. So we've been able to go on some date nights since he's been born. And when we have had family in town, like they're able to watch him if we ever need to go do anything or get work done or anything, which is so nice. And I'm like, this would be nice to have around 24/7. So back to the question about like, would we ever leave Florida? I don't know right now. I really don't ever want to leave. I'm just like praying that all of our family moves here. That would be ideal for me. I love it here. We just need our family here. But if they all end up in a different state, then I feel like that will be a different topic of conversation. But right now we are staying here and I love it here so much. That was all of the questions though. I feel like those were the most asked questions on my question box on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on there to be a part of like any future Q&As. Normally I'm always posting vlogs, but I felt like a nice little sit down video was very necessary, especially just like starting off the year, you know, fresh start, fresh Q&A or whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you so much, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all of those good things too. I love you. I will see you in the next video. Bye.